Hello friends, Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys, helping you well today. Today I want to show you how to program the ICT RF-RCVR receiver. We have this here on the desk. As you can see, we have the antenna and the connection, the Wigan output connected to my GX demo kit. Okay, so to connect this to the system, you need a free reader port. It needs to be programmed for Wigan. So at the moment, this device does not support ICT RS-485. Okay, if you have a reader on the same port, it's fine as soon as the reader is wired in Wigan mode. Okay, so by default, this receiver with these remotes have in my hands right now the 2-button remote with HID key tag. Okay, so the HID format key tag from ICT. So by default, the system is in pass-through mode. So basically, it's going to take the information of the remote and send a Wigan signal to my reader expander port. And the default format is 34-bit, okay, which is also the default for a standard reader port on an ICT reader expander or controller. So by default, each button have a unique card number. We call this unique user mode. However, almost every time we sell one of these modules, the client will want to have the same number for all the buttons. So in other words, to have only one user for the remote. So I'm going to show you how to connect to this device. You need a USB to RS-232 converter. In this case, I'm using a Prolific brand, so it's basically the most compatible one I've seen so far. You have to use a terminal software. I like to use Putty, so you will see that I installed Putty on my computer before the filming. So it basically, the default baud rate is 9600, no parity, and then when you connect with Putty, you have to hit the escape button and you'll see menus appear. Okay, so basically, I want to show you how to make the receiver give the same card number for all the buttons. Recently, what you're going to see is when you buy a box of remotes, most of the time they will have two side codes. So basically a side code for the tag inside the remote and a different side code for the buttons. This is so you can convert this module to 26-bit. Okay, so we need to have a side code that is below 255 for the buttons. Now, let me show you in GX what we need to configure in order to be able to connect to the receiver. So, as I said before, we need to use Wigan on the port where the receiver is connected. So I need to go to Expanders, Reader Expanders, and then under the General tab, I make sure port 2, which is the port I'm using, is set to Wigan, and then we save. Wait maybe 30 seconds for the download to complete, and then I need to right-click and update the module. Okay. So this was done previously. All right, now let me show you in Putty. Basically, we need to create a new serial connection with Putty. We use, in this case, I'm using COM3, and the speed will be 9600. Okay, that's the only settings. So when I am in Putty, first the screen will be blank, and then you hit escape, and it's going to show the menus. Now I can't show this step specifically because hitting escape in this application stops my recording for the screen. So basically, you just open Putty, select serial, select the COM port the Prolific converter is using, and set the speed to 9600. So now, as you can see, we have a Wigan section, which we're going to have to visit. So I press B and then enter. So now, as you can see, I'm using 34-bit unique user. So I want to press 1 until it says 34-bit only. Okay, so you see the difference. The second line is unique user. The first one is 34-bit. So port 2, in this case, I'm not using. So now I'm in the button configuration. So what you need to know is when you have a 2-button remote, the button numbering is actually, this is button 1, but the red alarm button, which triggers the onboard relay, if you want to use the relay for a siren or something like that, is actually button 4. Okay, so even if it's a 2-button, it's basically button 1 and 4. And then obviously the 4 buttons, you have the 4 buttons displayed on the faceplate. Okay, so basically what I want, as you can see, I'm using output 1, which is P1 and P2 on this module. Okay, so these outputs are basically Wigan outputs if you use the Wigan option. Okay, so P1 is D0 in case the green wire, and P2 is D1. okay, for the Wiegand. So we got basically P1 to D0, P2 to D1. Okay, so in this case, we want to configure button 1 for the Wiegand output, and what I did is button 4 is relay and P1 and P2. So from this screen now, you can see if I press button 1, it shows the side code 38, okay, and the button 3116, which is what's printed on that too. So basically the card number will be the same for the button and for the key tag inside the remote. Okay, so if I press button 4, you can see the user is the same. So we removed unique user for each button, and now all buttons will show the same card number. Okay, so let's have a look at the GX software now. If I go to my monitoring page, as you can see, when I press the button, it shows a raw data because it's not assigned to any user. Okay, and then I add this to an existing user. Okay, and when the download is completed, the system will then unlock the door when I'm going to press this button. So I'm not sure if the download is done yet. Not yet. Okay, let's see the controller status for the diagnostic window. Just force it download. The access level for the user. It's a bit troubleshooting here. All right, you see, access granted. So my reader is now showing green. Actually, it's not going to show green because I disconnected the reader for the connectivity for the receiver. Okay, so basically, you know, you need the RS-232 to USB converter. Again, I like the Prolific brand because they always work for me. Then you need to connect with a proper Wiegand cable to a reader port. You can have a reader in parallel as well. If you have, let's say, a gate opening with either a card or the remote, then you can have both installed on the same port. Okay, and in the GX system, you make sure the port is set for Wiegand, and then you can start adding your remotes to the users. Okay, the card number and the cycle to the user. So this was how to program the ICT RF-RCVR remote receiver. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of tutorials, product demonstrations, and available online. Again, my name is Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys. See you soon.